ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं यत्कृपा नमः श्री चैतन्य ओम सुखदेव ओम भगवते वासुदेवाय भगवते वासुदेवाय नमो नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Srimad Bhagavatam. Can't hear anything. Wow. Can't hear anything. On Zoom, can't hear anything. Can you hear now? Okay, thank you so much.
Sorry, my mistake. I when I logged in and that time the Kirtan was going on, so I didn't unmute it.
Reading from 4th Canto, chapter 8, verse number 66. Api anatam vane brahman.
Api anatam vane brahman.
Masmadanti arbhakamrika.
Masmadanti arbhakamrika.
Shantam shyanam shuditam.
Shantam shayanam kshitam.
Parimlana mukhambujam.
Parimlana mukha.
Apyanatham vane brahman.
Apyanatham vane brahman.
Masmadanti arbhakamrika.
Masmadanti arbhakamrika.
Shantam shayanam shuditam.
Shantam shayanam kshitam.
Parimlana mukhambujam.
Parimlana mukha.
Apyanatham vane brahman.
Apyanatham vane brahman.
Masmadanti arbhakamrika.
Masmadanti arbhakamrika.
Shantam shayanam shuditam.
Shantam shayanam kshitam.
Parimlana mukhambujam.
Parimlana mukha.
Apyanatham vane brahman. Masmadanti arbhakamrika. Shantam shayanam shuditam. Parimlana mukhambujam. Api, certainly, anatham, without being protected by anyone.
Without being protected by anyone.
Vane, in the forest. Brahman, my dear Brahmana. Ma, whether or not. Sma, did not. Adanti, devour. Arbakam, the helpless boy. Vrika, walls. Shantam, being fatigued. Shayana,
Yeah.
lying down,
Like that.
shooting up, being hungry, parimlana,
Parimlana.
emaciated,
Initiate.
mukham bhuja,
Come.
his face which is just like a lotus flower.
His face is just like
Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Brahmana, the face of my son was just like a lotus flower. I am thinking of his precarious condition. He is unprotected and he might be very hungry. He might have lain down somewhere in the forest and the wolves might have attacked him to eat his body. So this is a conversation between Narada and King Uttanapana. So Narad Muni, he gave instruction to Maharaj Dhruva, and Maharaj Dhruva went and performed austerities. He went and performed austerities. Then few months passed, and Dhruv Maharaj was about to attain perfection. So that time Dhruv Maharaj went to uh, King Uttanapad. And then King Uttanapad was very morose. He was sitting on his kingly kingdom, the king of the earth planet. So he came down, he washed the feet of Narada Muni, and he was very morose. So Narad Muni asked the king, why your face looks so withered? What happened? And then he said about his pain. And his pain was his son left him few months back, maybe 5, maybe around 6, few months back. He went to the forest. He hasn't returned. So he is in fear and he is only 5 years old. And his face was like a lotus flower. And he is afraid what is going on? What is the condition of my son? So he was kind of crying and he is expressing his pain to the saint. He said that he is unprotected. What thought does come to our mind when he is thinking that he is unprotected? Anyone can harm. Also, we can also see that how the king is thinking that if I don't protect, then he is unprotected. In a way, he is unprotected. This is very, very nice. And he might be very hungry. Means if I don't feed him, then in a way he is dependent on me. That's the feeling that he is carrying, the king. Being the father is natural for the father to have that feeling. The wolves might have eaten him, might have attacked him to eat his body. The next one I will read. Aho me bata dauratmyam स्त्री जीतस्य padharaya yonkam premna vivuksantam nabhyanandam ashattama. Synonyms, no synonyms.
no, this translation.
Translation. Alas, just see how I was conquered by my wife. Just imagine my cruelty. Out of love and affection, the boy was trying to get up on my lap, but I did not receive him, nor did I even pat him for a moment. Just imagine how hard-hearted I am. Then another quality we see of King Uttanapad is um, he is um, lamenting over his action which was not appropriate. And he's telling, just see how I was conquered by my wife. Just imagine my cruelty, how cruel I was. Just imagine how hard-hearted I am. So this is also a quality of our devotee, that when he goes to senior devotees, or they always present themselves in this way. How cruel I am, how hard-hearted I am, how I'm conquered by my senses in this way. And then his love for his child is reflected by out of love and affection, the boy was trying to get up on my lap, but I did not receive him. I did nor did I even pat him for a moment. Just imagine how hard-hearted I am. Then another thought I was having on this is when when we are very much absorbed in ourselves, then we cannot feel the pain of others. um, like when we are trying to be the enjoyers, we cannot feel the pain of others because we are full of thinking of ourselves. But when we are in the mood of a servant, then we can feel the pain of others. Like few examples that are coming to my mind is one is Duryodhana. Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra, they were causing so much pain to Pandavas, but they were not able to think of Pandavas' pain. They cannot think what Pandavas are going through because Duryodhana was fully focused on how I can keep the kingdom with me, how I can get the kingdom. And then when one is too attached to one's thoughts and what one wants to achieve, then whatever comes on the obstacle, one is just driven by that force of one's own desire. Then another example that comes to my mind is Indra. Indra was attacked by this great devotee demon whose name was Vrtrasura. Then Indra went to Narayan, he worshipped Narayan, and he asked Narayan for help. And Narayan said that you can make a weapon with the bone of the great saint Dadichi. So Indra, along with all the devatas, he went to Dadichi Muni and he asked him to please end up your life and give me your bones so I can use your bones to make a weapon so I can kill Vratrasura so that way I can be safe, I can maintain my kingdom. That's another example where when one is very much absorbed or focused or determined of what one wants, then whatever comes on the way, then whatever comes on the way, one cannot see the pain in others. And we see Bhishma Dev. Bhishma Dev was able to feel the pain of Kunti. He was able to feel the pain of Pandav. Why? Because he was in that service mood always. But others could not notice Kunti's pain. But he is telling, alas, how much you have suffered to Queen Kunti. And in this particular case, because Maharaj Uttanapad was um, very much, he just don't want to offend his wife. And um, like he great saint, but for the sake of teachings, we can say that he was attached to Suruchi. And then when Suruchi is saying something, he cannot scold her, he cannot say no to her. He just remains silent because he doesn't want to displease her. Even if even if somebody else is hurt, Dhruva is hurt, or his um, first wife is hurt, and what people think of him, he's not so much concerned, but he just doesn't want to displease Suruchi. Because he's like, he wants her association and he doesn't want her to become angry. He wants that happiness to continue. So then whatever else goes, he doesn't mind. So likewise, we can reflect in our own lives also that when we are driven, like there is another verse, very interesting verse. It says, I don't know which canto it comes. It says, if one has compassion, then which um, um, which man will not give anything to the beggars um, um, who are really in need, and which beggar will ask a man who is broke? Which beggar will ask a man who is broke? Means nobody is thinking of anybody else's pain actually. Which beggar will ask a man who is broke? Unless he is like, just I have to get whatever I want somehow or other. Whatever struggle others goes through doesn't matter. Or which rich man who has will not give a beggar who is really in need. Why? Because it's all about oneself. Na? It's very hard to actually feel the pain of somebody else. um, Prabhuji says, no, this society is declared as I am my society. So everything is like centered around oneself, and that's why one cannot see, one cannot feel others' pains, others' pain. Actually, perfection, Krishna consciousness, perfection of life is to pray to Shri Radha Gopijana Vallabha every single day. My Lord, please make me an eternal servant. Please give me the privilege of eternal service to you. And whatever that service may be, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Mama Janmani Janmanishwara, birth after birth, I want to remain engaged in your devotional service. It is this mood which is very hard. It is very hard to cultivate this mood of being a servant. That's mode of passion. Mode of passion is selfishness. In mode of goodness, compassion is there. In mode of passion, compassion is not there. In mode of passion, selfishness is there. Mode of goodness, selflessness is there, and compassion is there. We can feel the pain of others. Also, sometimes we do some action and then we lament. Srila Prabhupada also says lamentation is a sign of a good soul. Sometimes we do something. It is also said, like my spiritual master says, um, no matter what we do, we must always remember what wrong we have done in the past. Whatever the past may be, a few years back, or few days back, or few months back, or few weeks back. We should always remember what wrong we have done. And remembering that, we should think of ourselves, keeping that in mind of who we are. And we should not remember what good we have done to others. So Prabhupada says, yeah, lamentation is a sign of a good soul. And Maharaj Uttanapath, he he kind of in many times, like, it is the circumstances actually when we are in an environment, it's the circumstances, we become influenced by that environment, and then we do based on what our desires are in that environment. And when that environment circumstances go away, then we realize what wrong I did earlier. So we become influenced by our environment. So he was influenced because his wife was there, but later on when she left, then he came back to his senses. It is said that it creates a, like, what we are attached to creates an illusion in our mind, and then we cannot clearly think between right and wrong. And that's why when Suruchi was there, he could not really think because illusion covered him, and he was like forced to think, keeping her in perspective. But when she was not there, then he could come back to his real senses, and then he realized, oh, what did I do? Why did I act in that way? And then he's lamenting. "Hmm, just imagine how hard-hearted I am, how cruel I am, how I was conquered by my wife." So we'll do one more. Narada Uvacha Mamasu Shashvatanayam Devaguptam Vishampati Tatprabhavam Avidyaya Pravrente Yadyasho Jagat. Translation. The great sage Narada replied, my dear king, please do not be aggrieved about your son. He is well protected by the Supreme Personality of God. Although you have no actual information of his influence, his reputation is already spread all over the world. So he says he is unprotected, and Narad Muni replied, do not be aggrieved because he is well protected by the Supreme Personality of God. Very beautiful purport Prabhupada says. Although you don't know his situation, But I am telling you that your son reputation is already spread all over the world. He's famous in the three world now, in this few months when he went. Performed by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes when we hear that great sages and devotees go to the forest and engage themselves in devotional service or meditation, we become surprised. How can one live in the forest and not be taken care of by anyone? But the answer given by a great authority, Narada Muni, is that such persons are well protected by the Supreme Personality of God. So Prabhupada says sometimes these saintly people go in the forest and we feel like how they can live in the forest, how they will survive. But it is said that anybody who is depending on the law will be protected by the Supreme Personality of God. One does not have to fear about one situation. Sharanagati or surrender means acceptance or firm belief that wherever the surrendered soul lives, he is always protected by the Supreme Personality of God. He is never alone or unprotected. Dhruva Maharaja's affectionate father thought his young boy, only 5 years old, to be in a very precarious position in the jungle. But Narad Muni assured him, you do not have sufficient information about the influence of your son. Anyone who engages in devotional service anywhere within this universe is never unprotected. So Prabhupada says, if we are engaged in devotional service, no matter what circumstances we are in, we will always be protected by the Lord. Another thing that comes to my mind is how a devotee, like he was only a 5-year-old boy, but then how he became famous all over the three worlds because of his devotion to Narayan. Whenever a devotee surrenders to Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is taken complete care by the Lord. A devotee does not have to worry anything about himself or herself. Dhruv Maharaj doesn't have Dhruv Maharaj doesn't have to worry about whether it is food, whether it is protection by animals, whether living condition. But Dhruv Maharaj is like deriving great joy in the circumstances he was in. Dhruv Maharaj is experiencing full purification and absorption. His maintenance was personally taken care by the Supreme Lord, and his protection was personally taken care by the Supreme Lord. We see many examples of, like yesterday was Madhavendra Puri disappearance, and we see how Madhavendra Puri being fully surrendered when he came to Govindakund. He was um, so absorbed in the holy name. Day and night he would sit under a tree and he would absorb himself in the holy names. And he would not even care, he would not even go out to beg, and he was just absorbed. And then Gopal himself came and he said, Baba, in this village, nobody goes hungry. And these cowherd women, they told me that they go here and there every day and they never saw you begging anything. You're always sitting here and closed your eyes. So, because in this village, nobody goes hungry. So here is some milk for you. So, Madhavendra Puri, he asked the boy, what is your name? He said, my name is Gopal. But Gopal is a common word because Gopal means a cowherd boy. Everybody in Vrindavan is called Gopal. He said, my name is Gopal. But he didn't understand that this is Gopal. And later on, the boy left and he came and then he said, I'm suffering so much, please help me. Then Madhyana Puri was there. And there is also the example of Sanatana Goswami. He was also living on the bank of Pavan Sarovar and he was also so absorbed. And same thing, Krishna came there and gave him a pot of milk. And then we see how Krishna protected our Goswamis. Some lion would come and Das Goswami. Maharaj was so absorbed in the holy name that Krishna stood far away because the lion has free will also. So Krishna personally stood far away to make sure the action of lion doesn't harm Das Goswami. And then when lion left, Krishna left. And Das Goswami doesn't even know. But Sanatana Goswami noticed. Sanatana Goswami said, what are you doing? We are meant to Supreme Lord, not take service from the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada here is saying that a person who surrenders does not have to worry about his maintenance and his protection. Although one may feel like a mother may feel, a father may feel, especially for when somebody joins full time, what will happen? Who will take care? What will happen in their old age? What will happen? So one does not have to feel anything because the Supreme Lord takes care. Supreme Lord took full care. Although Father naturally was concerned, the Lord, he is going and worshipping the Lord took full care of Dhruv Maharaj. You know, this famous thing, na? Devotees Prabhupada, how many brahmacharis? Prabhupada, around 10,000. Yeah, how do you feed 10,000? Probably Krishna provides. But common people cannot understand. Krishna provides. If you Krishna maintains and Krishna provides and Krishna supports every devotee. Even if devotee is full of faults, doesn't matter. Krishna takes care. Even if one is not a devotee, Krishna takes care. And Prabhupada said that why do you have to fear? Uttanapad was so much fearful, but Narad Muni went and he said, you don't have to worry about it. Not only he is very well protected, he is famous all over. He will he will make you famous also by his pure devotion. This is now his Maradro. He will be talked about along with you for ages to come. This is the power of worshipping the Supreme Lord Narayana. What else? Any questions? What kind of question? No matter what that devotee, who that devotee is, that devotee may be with full all the shortcomings. Krishna actually takes care of every devotee. One may think why, naturally a living entity may have many desires and may think why Krishna is not taking care, why Krishna is doing this, why Krishna is doing this with my visa and doing this with my financial situation, not giving me a better job. And one may have so many complaints against Krishna. One may have, especially if one is not mature. But actually Krishna is providing and taking care of every devotee.
That's safety.
Taking care, providing. Krishna is providing, like maintaining them and protecting them both. Every devotee.
Jesus the devotee.
Huh?
Jesus is the devotee.
Jesus is devotee, yes.
He got stabbed. Crucified.
When it is said, Prabhu, when the devotees go through suffering, it only glorifies them. Because through devotees, the Lord shows how to take reversals. Reversals comes in everyone's life. And then the devotees set such high example. And when reversals comes, we take their shelter and we see how they receive, how they kind of dealt with those situations. What was their consciousness in those situations? And that sets an example for us. And because he was crucified, how much he is glorified? You know? Like for example, Srila Prabhupada also went through so much struggle. And on this Jaladuta with heart attacks and seasickness, so much struggle Srila Prabhupada went through. But today we see any devotee who glorifies Prabhupada, this pastime they speak. Srila Prabhupada's journey on Jaladuta. Any common, any like new audience, this is what they highlight. It's like how Prabhupada is so much glorified by the pastime of Jaladuta. If Prabhupada come and say everybody chant Hare Krishna and the whole America and the whole Lima chant Hare Krishna, then but when we see how much struggle, then we feel like what Prabhupada went through. Our Prabhupada went to write these books. So Krishna glorifies his devotees because a devotee sets an example how to take reversals in one's life. And one may feel that the devotee, when he is suffering, he is going to a lot of pain because we relate our condition to them. But Krishna gives them a different experience. Krishna makes them forget the pain. Krishna makes them become absorbed in him. And Krishna makes them joyful even in the extreme reversal situations. And they are able to maintain that consciousness, Krishna consciousness in those extreme situations by Lord Krishna's mercy alone. Krishna is actually glorifying them. Krishna becomes active in their heart at that time. Our consciousness, when it is favorable, it is also Krishna's mercy that our consciousness is favorable in adverse situations. It is also Krishna's mercy on us at that time. Because everything a devotee does for him, everything a devotee does for him, Krishna knows. Some may notice, some may not notice. Krishna notices. And Krishna will reciprocate with interest. Every single thing we do for Krishna. That's why serving Krishna is the only real investment. There is no better use of our life and our time. Every living entity is hankering to experience Krishna's name, Krishna's form, absorb in Krishna. Every living entity is hankering. Any other questions? To absorb themselves. Krishna consciousness is a very gradual process. Slow. But it is very sweet. Okay. Shall we end? Anything on Zoom? Otherwise, I am done.
Thank you so much for the wonderful class, Prabhu. Especially you emphasizing on the compassion part was very wonderful, and how Krishna actually takes care of everyone, not just who are practicing devotional service. I just had one perspective from that line which you read about um, Dhruva's father. He's saying, the Dhruva is unprotected. Though that's a fatherly affection he had for him, but it's such a beautiful aspect on the other side is that whatever shelter we are thinking about in this material world is so fallible. So
Mm.
if we and Narada Muni clarifies that he is well protected, what to talk about protected, because that's Krishna is the ultimate shelter. Whatever material shelter a parent or a relative can provide, it's so fallible. We don't know even we can take care of those things when we really need it. So that was a wonderful point I thought, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll end here. Thank you very much. Shila Prabhupada.
Shyamananda Krishna Prabhu ki jai. Thank
Jai.
you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.